Some moments in life are so sharp, so utterly soul-piercing, that they carve themselves into your memory forever. No matter how many years pass, I'll always remember the exact second my world crumbled. My name is Arohi, and this is the story of how my father, the man I trusted above all else, sold my seaside villa to pay off my sister's debt. For as long as I can remember, the villa by the sea was my escape. Nestled along the quiet shores of Kerala, that house wasn't just brick and mortar. It was my grandmother's gift to me, her way of saying, "You are worth something. You deserve peace, even if the world forgets you." She had raised me more like a daughter than a granddaughter. When I lost my mother young, it was Grandma who held my hand, taught me to dream, and whispered to me under the stars about the life I could build. Free, bold, and beautiful. Before she passed away, she made one thing very clear. The villa was mine and no one else's. She even left it to me formally in her will. It wasn't just property. It was my dream. I planned to quit my stressful city job and turn that seaside house into a quiet writer's retreat, my sanctuary, my rebirth. I spent weekends restoring the villa, saving every rupee I earned to make it perfect. The peeling blue shutters, the creaky swing on the porch, the way the sunrise danced on the waves. It was my joy, my future, my home. So when my father sat me down in our living room that evening, pretending he needed to discuss something important, I had no idea the ground beneath my feet was about to vanish. "Arohi," he began, in that forced, fatherly tone he used when sugarcoating bad news. "We had no choice. Your sister got into trouble again, bad trouble. Loan sharks. Huge debt." I stared at him, unsure where this was going. My younger sister Ria was always careless, addicted to online shopping, parties, and lately gambling. But she'd been bailed out before. Dad always rescued her. "So," I said, heart tightening. "So," he exhaled, eyes avoiding mine. "We had to sell the villa to pay them off." For a moment, the world stood still. My ears rang. I thought I misheard him. "My villa," I whispered. "Grandma's villa? The one she left to me?" He looked irritated, as if I was being difficult. "Yes, Beta. But family comes first. Your sister's life was at risk. We did what we had to." I shook my head, panic rising. "You can't sell it. It's in my name. You need my signature." He waved a hand like I was a foolish child. "We managed it. Technicalities. Paperwork. You'll get over it. You can always build another house." "You forged my signature?" I burst out. My voice shook, half from shock, half from betrayal. Just then Riaz sauntered into the room, munching on a chocolate bar like nothing mattered. "Relax, Dee," she smirked. "It's just an old house. You're so dramatic. I needed help. You don't want me killed, do you?" I stared at them both. My father, the man who always preached honesty, had stolen from me. My sister, the girl who ruined everything she touched, stood there smirking, untouched, uncaring. The villa was gone. My dream, my plans, my years of saving, all sacrificed to cover up her mess. "You've ruined me," I whispered. But they only shrugged. "Don't be selfish, Arohi," Dad snapped. "We did this for the family. You can always start again." Start again? Like it was that easy? Like dreams could be rebuilt overnight? I wanted to scream, cry, break something. But I didn't. I stood there, frozen, feeling the betrayal burn through my chest like fire. That night, I sat alone in my small apartment, staring at the copy of the villa's papers they gave me, the ones with my forged signature. I ran my fingers over the place where my grandmother's name once stood. I felt the weight of every broken promise. Every time they dismissed me, every sacrifice I made to stay the good daughter. But in that moment of pain, something strange happened. A quiet calm, like the still before a storm. I wiped my tears, straightened my back, and made a silent vow. They will regret this. Every single one of them. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't beg. I would wait. Watch. Plan. And when the time was right, I would take back what was mine. And more. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. Because I knew a truth they didn't. Grandma left me more than just that villa. Much more. And soon they would find out. The game had only just begun. 4 days after that betrayal, I moved like a shadow.
Silent. Cold.
Focused. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I didn't even let them see my rage. When my father called to casually check in, or when Rhea sent her fake sweet messages, pretending all was fine, I smiled. I responded politely.
Calmly.
Because they needed to believe I was broken.
Defeated.
Harmless. But inside, something sharp and burning had awakened. Because what they didn't know, the secret they forgot, was that Grandma had left me more than just that villa. Months before her death, she made me promise not to tell anyone about the extra shares she quietly transferred to me in a small real estate development company. The same company my father, in his desperation, sold my villa to, thinking he was being clever, thinking he had trapped me. But fate is funny. That very company, Sri Harsh Realty, was in trouble. The land permit they needed to start building luxury villas, including mine, had been stuck for months in the local municipality office. And I knew someone on the inside. It was a strange twist of fate. My ex-boyfriend, Arjun, worked there. We hadn't spoken in years. Not since our quiet, sad breakup when I moved away to build my career. But some old ties don't fade. When I messaged him out of the blue, he replied within minutes.
Coffee, he suggested.
Just to catch up. Over steaming cups in a quiet cafe, I laid out the truth. My father sold my villa to cover my sister's debt, I said softly, holding back the anger. To this company. And I still hold shares. Small ones, but enough to vote. And I know they need the land permit desperately to start construction. He raised an eyebrow. And you want to delay it? I smiled.
No.
I want to block it. He sipped his tea, then grinned. Consider done. It was shockingly easy. A small error here, a missing document there, a file that somehow got sent to the wrong department. Within 2 weeks, the company was panicking. Investors were backing out. Their phones buzzed endlessly with impatient, angry calls. The whole project stalled. The company's stock value tumbled. And then, like a quiet hunter, I made my move. Through a discreet broker, one who never asked questions, I began to buy back the villa. The company, desperate for liquidity, needed to offload stuck properties. I purchased my own villa for a price far lower than what my father had sold it for. I signed the final papers with a shaking hand and an unspoken smile. The villa was mine again. But this wasn't just about reclaiming bricks and walls. This was about truth, justice, and revelation. You see, my father thought he was clever. But he had made a fatal mistake. Grandma's original will, the one I'd found hidden deep in her old writing desk, held something they never knew. It clearly stated, if any heir unlawfully sells or transfers the villa, they forfeit all claim to any other family property. My father, my sister, their precious family house in the city, the one they lorded over everyone, was no longer theirs. It was mine, legally. Ironically, I contacted my lawyer, a kind old man who once handled my grandmother's affairs. He confirmed it with a slow shake of his head. Yes, Arohi. By selling that villa, without your consent, your father voided his claim on the family house. It passes to you entirely. I sat back, stunned by the quiet power in those words. For years, they made me feel like the outsider. Like the one who didn't matter. Like I was only ever meant to sacrifice for family, while Ria's messes were cleaned up over and over.
But now?
I held everything. My seaside villa, their city home, their security, their pride. And they had no idea.
Yet.
I planned the reveal carefully. A family gathering. The perfect moment. I could already see their faces. The shock, the panic, as I told them the truth. As I slid the will across the table. As I showed them the new papers, with my name printed boldly where theirs used to be. But more than revenge, I wanted something deeper. I wanted them to finally feel what I felt that night when they stole my dream. The helplessness. The betrayal. The burning injustice of being robbed by the very people you trust. And so I waited.
Quiet.
Smiling. The stage was set. The trap was ready. And soon, my father and my perfect little sister would realize the price of underestimating the quiet daughter they always ignored. Their world was about to collapse, just as they had collapsed mine. And I wouldn't even have to raise my voice. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than I expected. It was Ria's birthday. My father decided to throw her a grand party at their prized city house, the one they had lorded over all these years as the family home. They invited relatives, friends, and business associates, probably to show the world how well they were doing after clearing Ria's scandalous debt. Little did they know, this would be the last celebration they'd ever host under that roof. I dressed carefully that evening, simple but striking. A dark blue sari, the same shade as the sea I loved so much. I pinned my hair like Grandma used to and smiled at my reflection. Because tonight, everything would change. As I arrived, I noticed the whispers. Some guests came to me privately. Arohi, we heard you bought your villa back? Is that true? I simply smiled. Patience. All will be revealed. My father spotted me across the hall. His smug expression faltered slightly. Ria approached with a forced grin, holding a glass of wine. Look who showed up after all, she said. Decided to forgive and forget. I said nothing. I waited. When the dinner was served and the speeches began, my father proudly took the mic. I want to thank everyone for being here to celebrate my darling Ria's birthday, and to let you all know that, despite recent challenges, our family stands strong. Our home is secure. Our future is bright.
Lies.
All of it. I gently raised my hand. May I say something, Papa? I asked sweetly. The room went quiet. My father forced a smile. Of course, Beta. I stepped forward, pulling a thin folder from my bag. The old will, my lawyer's documents, and the freshly signed property papers. I just want to share a little surprise with you all. I began, my voice calm, steady. You see, a few months ago, Dad sold my seaside villa to cover Ria's gambling debts. But what they forgot was that Grandma left me more than just that house. Confused murmurs rippled across the room. Grandma's original will clearly states that anyone who unlawfully sells or transfers the villa loses all claim to the rest of the family property.
Gasps.
My father stiffened. Ria froze, her wine glass slipping slightly in her hand. And since the villa was sold without my consent, using forged papers, this house, legally belongs to me now. Silence fell. Heavy. Stifling. I held up the documents. The court confirmed it last week. Here's the new deed. The house you stand in is no longer yours, Papa.
Or yours, Ria.
It's mine. My father's face turned ashen. He grabbed the papers from my hand, flipping through them desperately. This can't be. He muttered. Ria stumbled forward, eyes wide, lip trembling. You can't do this to us. I smiled softly. I didn't do this.
You did.
When you stole my villa. When you sold my dream to cover her mess. A heavy silence choked the room. Some relatives turned away, embarrassed. Others whispered furiously. I stepped closer to my father, lowering my voice. You taught me that family comes first, remember? You said I should sacrifice for the good of the family. Well, now it's your turn. You can stay here if you can afford the rent. The lease agreement is in this folder too. His hands shook as he opened the last page. Rent, he croaked. Yes, Papa. Market price. Monthly. Paid to me. Ria gasped. You're evicting us? I shook my head.
No.
I'm giving you a chance to do what you made me do, struggle.
Worry.
Wonder if you'll make next month's payment. Like I did after you stole everything. For the first time in my life, my father looked afraid. Truly afraid. I turned to the crowd, raising my glass. To family, I said softly. And to the justice Grandma made sure would never be forgotten. A few people clapped, unsure. Many just stared, wide-eyed, unable to believe what they'd just witnessed. But I didn't care. I felt light.
Free.
For the first time since that awful day in the living room, I could breathe. I had taken back what was mine. And more. The house. The control. The power they thought would always belong to them. Now, they would live knowing they were at my mercy, just like they made me feel. And every month, as they struggled to gather rent, they would remember this night. I gave Ria one last look. Her face was pale, stunned, terrified. "Happy birthday, little sister," I whispered. "This is your real gift." And I walked away, head high, heart steady, leaving behind the broken pieces of the empire they'd tried to steal. The game was not over. It had only just begun. The days that followed were like watching a slow, silent storm unravel. For the first time in years, my phone didn't buzz with fake concern from my father or shallow apologies from Ria. No calls. No messages. Only quiet. And that quiet tasted sweet. But life is not a drama that ends with a single grand scene. It lingers. It teaches. A week after the party, a letter arrived at my apartment. Handwritten. From my father. "Arohi," it began. "You've made your point. You've won.
I know that.
I made mistakes. But this house, it is our family shelter. You wouldn't really make us leave, would you?" I read every word slowly. No apology. No regret for stealing my villa. Just fear for their comfort. Their pride. Their image.
Typical.
The next day, Ria called. Her voice cracked with fake sweetness. "Dee, please. Let's fix this. You don't want Dad to fall sick with stress, do you? We're family, right? What's done is done. Just forget the papers. Let us stay rent-free. Like before. Before. When they used me. When they robbed me without shame." I laughed gently. "Of course, Ria. You can stay. If you pay the rent. Monthly. On time. But..."
D. Click.
I hung up. I felt no guilt. No hesitation. For years I'd swallowed my anger. Watched them humiliate me. Treat me like the lesser daughter. Arohi the serious one. The quiet one. The boring one.
But now?
Every rupee they earned would come to me. Every breath they took in that house would be, because I allowed it. Their world belonged to me. And I still wasn't done. At the office, I met with my lawyer again. "There's another matter," I said. I pulled out the last letter my grandmother wrote. Her real final wish. In it, she clearly stated that the family's small jewelry business, run in my father's name, should pass to me if he ever broke the terms of her will. He had broken them completely. Within weeks, the transfer was done. I now owned the business that fed his pride, his wealth, his status. The employees didn't mind. Many of them smiled when they saw me. They had always liked me when I visited Grandma's office as a child. But to my father, it was the final blow. His house, his business, his control, gone. All because of the greed and arrogance he thought would never cost him. One evening, as the sun set over my reclaimed seaside villa, my father came to see me. I stood on the porch, the creaky swing freshly painted, the scent of jasmine from Grandma's garden filling the air. He stood there, older than I'd ever seen him, his shoulders sagging. "Arohi," he said softly.
"Please."
"I'm still your father." I said nothing. I made mistakes. I shouldn't have. I thought I was protecting Ria, saving the family. I didn't think you'd fight back. I met his tired eyes. "You didn't think I mattered," I said gently. "You thought I was too quiet to stand up.
Too weak to strike.
You taught me to sacrifice, but never imagined I'd make you sacrifice instead." His lip trembled. He looked at the house, the swing, the garden.
"Please.
Let me stay in the city house. Reduce the rent. For old time's sake." I smiled softly.
"No, Papa. You'll pay."
"Like you made me pay. Like I begged for a future and you sold it." Tears filled his eyes. But I felt no pity. "You didn't just sell a house, Papa. You sold me. My dreams. My trust. And you let Ria get away with it, again." He bowed his head. "I'm sorry. It was too late." He left quietly. Broken. Defeated. As I sat on the swing that night, Watching the waves, I felt the weight of everything lift from my chest. The villa was mine again. Their house was mine. Their business was mine. And justice, true, satisfying justice, was done. But more than that, I was free. No more playing the obedient daughter. No more silent suffering. I was Arohi, the woman Grandma believed I could be.
Strong. Brave.
Ruthless when wronged. As the stars blinked above the sea, I whispered softly.
Thank you, Grandma.
You knew. You always knew. The phone buzzed beside me. A message from Ria. Can we talk? Please. I smiled, turned off the phone, and swung gently into the night breeze. Let them wait. For once in their lives, they could suffer in silence. Just like I did. I closed my eyes. And finally, after all these years, I slept peacefully. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Your support means everything. If this story touched you or made you think, please subscribe to our channel for more real, powerful stories.